After 500 nights on the road with our family, we've been through our share of fires. And what Sequoia taught us is that the hard seasons aren't in the way of a strong family, they are the way. In this video, we're going to share a 5-step framework we built from that idea. We call it the G.R.O.V.E. method. By the end, you'll have something real and practical you can take into the next hard season your family faces, whether that's a rough stretch of homeschool, tension in your marriage, or just life not going the way you planned. Did you know that a sequoia tree literally cannot reproduce without fire? The heat is what forces the cones open. The ash is what makes the ground rich enough for a seed to grow. Without the fire, there is no grove, no next generation, no new life. We stood in the middle of Sequoia National Park and heard that, and we just looked at each other because we've lived that.
So the G.R.O.V.E. method is an acrostic, not to be too corny, but hopefully it makes it easier to remember. G stands for gather, so name what's happening together. R stands for root, so return to what's true. O stands for open, stay curious, not defensive. So important. We're probably going to park there a little bit and have that conversation. V stands for value, protect small moments. And E stands for emerge, tell the story of growth. So we're excited to dive into this. So let's go ahead and jump in. So G, gather, name what's happening together.
Gather is when we're talking about you just want to bring your family together, have an intentional conversation, whether it's at the dinner table or in the car. Car talks are always great when you're traveling somewhere. Maybe it's at bedtime. And you're just naming what's going on. Hey, we started a new homeschool year together and we're not really, it's not normal yet. We're still figuring out the kinks and it feels like a little unsteady. But we're starting it. And this is what it is. You're not fixing it. You're not bringing a solution to the table.
Hey guys, pause right there. So guys, we're not fixing it. We're not trying to fix our wife's problem or our kid's problem. We're just listening. And we're saying, so a lot of times in this name it stage, it can be tempting to fix it. It can also be tempting to not actually deal with what is really happening, right? So
right. You're bringing it into the arena of this is going on.
Yes. So if you're on the road and let's say, recently we had a jack that's given us some headaches, we're going to have to replace it. Well, that creates tension. Well, as that creates tension because something isn't going exactly to plan, which is typically when tension comes in, that can start to create tension between us. So it's so important that when you're going through a fire season like that you stop and you say, okay, what is really going on here? This isn't going to become an issue with us because we are going to collectively name it and say, it's a jack issue.
Yes.
That's 100% solvable. Here's how we're going to work together to solve it, not against each other, not attacking each other, because now you're compounding negativity instead of saying, hey, no, let's name what's the real issue here. The real issue is the jack. The real issue isn't your attitude or my attitude. Neither of us like this.
And we're not here to solve it right now.
Exactly.
We're not spitballing ideas of what to do. We're just simply saying, here's the issue at hand. And we're also going to acknowledge that we handle things differently. I come into a situation that's hard and there's a lot more of internal emotion that I want to process through. And you're going to come into a situation and it's he does want to spitball it. It's out loud processing and our kids process. It's your relationship to whatever hard thing is going on is different. And so everyone has a different response and just being aware, you're just bringing awareness. This is what gather, name what's
And ultimately,
happening.
We want to bring alignment, right? So if something negative happens like that, you want to name it so you can all agree, yes, this is actually what we're dealing with. So let's resolve. We're not going to have an issue with us as we work through this. Not that we may not have differing opinions on how you can solve this. And I'll always listen to Deborah, of course. In those instances, actually, most of the time, she's way better at processing some of those things in the heat of the moment than I am. So we want to have alignment so we can move forward to resolution and not get distracted with frustrations and struggles that aren't actually going to move us forward to resolve it.
So that would be gather. Gather is just naming what it is. And we have given you an idea of a jack issue. It's also things like we've lost a parent. And this is hard because it affects all the relationships. There's a house to go. There's like so many things, but let's just acknowledge we're going to work through this together. So this works on every level of a hard thing.
Even homeschool. Like we're kind of in that final stretch of the homeschool year. There can be...
Let's just acknowledge it's the last month and everyone wants to throw in the towel.
Yes,
right
and
now.
endurance can be like on the low end because we're like literally in the final weeks. And tensions can rise and frustrations between each other. That's where it's like, hey, let's just acknowledge, here's where we are. Here's what we need to do. Let's just push through together as a team. What adjustments, if any, do we need to make? But really saying, this is what it is to gather alignment so you don't get into a crazy cycle. Because the crazy cycle, that's not productive. Actually naming it and saying what it is and working through it together, that builds alignment and that builds resolution and that builds really endurance as a family. So super
and
valuable.
that can be a faster conversation than what we just discussed it. So it can be a 5-minute conversation of just getting everyone on board so you can move on to the next one.
Yes. So the next thing, R in Grove, is root. So return to what's true.
Rooting is just getting everyone to acknowledge that there's emotions, but not let the emotions run what's going on. Returning to what you know is true. And we like a daily practice. We usually do it about around supper time, maybe at the supper tables when we do it a lot. And it's the victory and the struggle of the day, because you do want to acknowledge there's really good things happening and there is a hard thing still happening. And so it kind of gives you a base for where everyone's living in that day and what's going on, and also helps you parent what's going on with your kids. You know, like, is that true? You know, like, because your sister did that to you, does that really mean that that's what's going on? You know, like, is that true? No, it's not really true. It's just your emotions. Your emotions are all involved and they're doing all the talking. They're really loud. And sometimes we have to mute them a little bit so that we can actually listen to what is true in the situation.
And let's be honest, sometimes it's just full on combat. Like our emotions are trying to grab the wheel of our life. One of the best quotes somebody shared with me in a really difficult time in my life was that emotions are a gift from God, but they make a horrible master. And I think what that does is it says, hey, you're an emotional being. We're made in the image of God. Therefore, we have emotion. God has emotion. However, it's not meant to be our master.
Yeah.
So we need to have control over that. Well, how do you do that? Well, you do that by going to truth. You have to stay rooted in the truth of what's going on in the situation and really just what's going on in the world. Things as simple as God is good. God is in control. God is sovereign over all things. So again, that saying, it's so good, is emotions are a gift from God, but they make a horrible master. And the way that we can combat when our emotions start to get the best of us is to go back to truth.
And often this is a little bit of like recounting your past. Maybe if your kids are young, you haven't gone through a hard family time yet, but like some of ours are, remember when we lost all of power in the Tetons and there was a bear right by our RV, and like just all of these things were like, wow, it's not as bad as that. You know, like we made it through that. So this thing, we're going to make it through this thing too. And sometimes just recalling other hard situations. Remember when we lost all air conditioning in Savannah and it was 94 degrees? Do you remember that? Yeah.
I do. I remember being on the roof of our RV during that. That was...
Well, this isn't as bad as that. And you're like, okay. So it's giving some perspective, because sometimes emotions in the moment, it is a rough thing. Like, and emotions are not always the liar. They just sometimes get a really loud voice and you have to bring them back to, remember this? Okay, we made it through that and we're going to make it through that.
Awesome. Okay, so next on the list is open. Stay curious, not defensive.
Yeah, this one you can probably think of 100 different times that this comes into play. And open is all about when there is something hard happening, you just feel assaulted all the time of like things going wrong. And we can often get combative towards people and they'll say something. And what we need to do is stay open and ask a question, because we're hearing it maybe as an attack. What did you mean by that? Can you help me understand what did you mean when you said, help me understand so that I can better answer this, or we can better together talk about this issue going on?
And the kind of the real root of that, the heart of even being able to ask questions like that in an emotional season is just the mindset and the heart attitude of seeking to understand someone before seeking to be understood.
Right.
So I think that is just, whether it's RV life or even in the homeschool world or just in marriage and family, even with kids and parenting, man, how easy it is to just like, well, you're going to understand me and my point, versus saying, okay, you're saying this. Can you help me understand what you mean by that? And being genuine. A person can typically tell, like, are you just trying to game me here? Or do you genuinely care about my opinion and really want to help resolve this problem? So seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Super practical. Guys out there in your marriage, man, just like put that, like literally write that on your forehead. Super valuable instruction.
So there are going to be hard times in your life. Like this is just, the fires are going to come. You don't have to go seeking them out. And you just want to de-escalate some of the hard conversations that are going to have to be had during hard times. You want to de-escalate those by not putting out statements and instead putting out questions. Can you help me understand that, sir? Can you help me understand, what did you mean when you said? And these are ways that we can have a more open conversation. It doesn't build walls, it actually breaks down walls. And that's what you need in a hard time. Each other, we aren't the enemy of each other. We're in this together against what's going on, or working through the hard circumstance.
But let's be honest, when you're going through a hard time, it can feel like the other person is against you and not for you. And then that creates what's called a race to the bottom. So who's going to be the biggest victim here? So when we both just say, or if I say or you'll say, I'm not racing to the bottom here, that aligns us to the fact that we're on the same team. So let's work together to solve this. And this can be in like big significant areas, like you referred to, losing a loved one. And man, the emotional roller coaster that can be through the grief process can be very challenging. But that it can be as simple as the jack issue. Well, you seem like you're really frustrated, and you just said this. Do you think that's, or help me understand kind of how you're processing that? Because now it says, I'm not trying to figure this out alone. Like, I actually have a teammate.
I'm in it with you.
Yes, I'm in it. You're in it with me, and I don't feel alone, because that can be part of it too. Like, it's all on me.
Yeah.
I have to solve this whole thing.
Yeah.
And some of the biggest challenges we've had to solve, whether it's RV life, whether it's homeschooling, or just life in general, it's when we come back together, the best decisions are made, and we can move forward in unity, not only as in our marriage, but even as a family.
Yeah.
Because that creates unity and peace amongst the family as well. So super important. Stay open, stay curious, seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Okay. Next, value, protect small moments. And this is when I feel like we keep getting the lesson taught to us at times, especially like when you're on the road, and maybe because we're not full time, we're half time. So we have a sticks and bricks house, and then we're on the road 6 months out of the year. And it seems like we were slow to learn this one in some ways, of taking a lot of those core foundational rhythms that we have at home and actually bringing those on the road. So tell us more about that. Protect small moments.
So that would just be maintaining your family routines. Every family has a routine of what happens inside of a week. Ours has family movie night or pizza night. In the summer, we don't usually watch a movie, but it's like we make pizza, like literally have a uni pizza oven, and like we make pizza together on Friday night. And that is like a family staple of something that always happens, even when something is not going to plan, even when we might be going through grief, even when the homeschool year has felt completely muddled, and that day has felt like a loss of a day. We don't want to do anything except for just throw the towel in. We make the pizza dough. We do the thing, and we're holding on to the family rhythm. You might have a game night. You might have, Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning park mornings, or, whatever it is with your family. Don't toss out those rhythms when you're just not feeling like it. Like, kids love rhythm. Kids need rhythm. We need it too.
And there's a lot of peace and harmony that comes with those things, even in the difficult times. It's like one of those things for us, those non-negotiable moments is on Sundays, we sit down and we talk about the next week. So what does everybody have going on when we're home? What's the work schedules? When we're on the road, okay, what does the homeschool look like? What does our travel schedule look like? All of those things are so important because it lets your kids know, really, it kind of helps set expectations. Not only that we're going to have it, but also now they can feel comfortable and confident in, oh, okay, here's what we have going on this week.
Right.
And whether it's the season is good and we feel like we've got good rhythm and harmony, or whether we've had a big interruption with a life event or something that didn't quite go the way that we wanted it to, those times are so important because it really is a foundational thing that you can be anchored to through, whether it's the good winds of life or the turmoil of life. It allows everybody to be anchored to those things.
Right. So just in a hard season, don't defer joy until you think, well, we're not going to do that thing until like we're feeling like ourselves again. Just keep doing it. Just keep in the rhythm. Just keep the family foundational things that structure your family well through a week. It's helpful for you. It's helpful for your kids. And then it also helps you walk through with a little bit of predictability, like, well, I know what this day is, so I don't even have to think about what I'm doing Friday night. Yeah. Friday night is pizza night.
And you're not always going to feel like it. Like,
right.
You've put those things into place intentionally on purpose for the betterment and the value to your family. Don't expect that you're always going to feel like you want to do the thing. Sometimes, a great mentor of mine said, hey, Ron, sometimes you have to act your way to a feeling. Don't feel your way to an act. I'm going to say that again because I think it's so important, and I have to remind myself of this often. You have to act your way to a feeling. Don't feel your way to an act. So when you put those good structures in place, if all whatever hits the fan and it's like, oh, what's going on? Okay, well, nope, it's Sunday night. We're going to do this thing. Like, this helps our family. It helps bring everybody together, put everybody on the same page, bring alignment for our week, and is super important. So don't feel like all the stars have to align for these structural, again, and this isn't everything that you do every week. It's like, these are the things that you have sat down and with your wife, your spouse, your family, and said, these are non-negotiables in our week.
That's right.
So whether we feel like it or not, these things are going to get done.
And I'll just stick out there. Something I learned is when we would have movie night and I was deep in grief over losing my parents, I did want to have a say about what the movie was. So like, even like, it might not look exactly normal where you're like, well, we're just having movie night and whatever. I did want to just be like, please, nothing weird, a little kid, Nemo.
Yes.
Those are the things I was like, I cannot handle Nemo right now. It's just not going to. So it's going to look maybe a little different. The point of it is not to throw it away entirely. You might need to alter it, but keep those foundational pieces.
Yes. So the last point here, emerge. And I'm just going to be honest with you. This is probably one of the areas that I can struggle with the most because I'm not a big guy that likes to like pause and reflect on something. I may like, okay, that's done, full speed ahead, let's go. And that's why God put us together, because sometimes you like to live in the reflection and sometimes I like to live in the let's go, so we can be a good balance for each other. But tell the story of growth.
Yeah, this is where you can just feel your season shifting. For me with grief, and I keep on referring to this, but it was such a big one.
Oh, yeah.
It was, you just felt like something pivot, something shifted, something forward motion. And you're like, I'm breathing. I feel like I'm walking forward. Or in a homeschool life, it's usually like 4 to 6 weeks in where you're like, I think we've hit a rhythm. I think we've hit a stride. Every day does not seem like a hard day,
Mm-hmm.
So it's those moments when you just want to pause, you want to gather everyone together again, and you want to be like, okay, our season is shifting. We're walking forward. Let's look back and see how far we've come. Let's look back and see where we were and where we are now. It's kind of like a victory of sorts. And as you continue to walk out of a hard season, you want to just keep on pausing and being like, look at where we are now. Like 6 weeks ago, we would have never thought that we would have been enjoying science outdoors with, all the birds and, whatever it might be. Like, it just seemed impossible. And now here we are just like walking down to the park, and it just seems very natural. Like, can you even imagine that here we are 6 weeks later?
And I think even like with traveling, I mean, I look at our first trip and how crazy that was with, 18 something national parks and all the miles, 105 nights. And It was an epic trip, but when you were in it, you felt like you were on the ride of your life at times. But it's been really sweet after the trip to come back. And it's so funny how it's like some of those negativity and the struggle doesn't necessarily get forgotten about but gets really deprioritized.
Yeah.
And just the good in those experiences really kind of come to the top. And those are the things that the kids constantly, and even we, talk about. There were lots of learning lessons, but I think in this stage of emerge, you want to be careful that you don't try to rush through it. And I would say this about each stage of these processes. Each one of them are meant to not be parked in, but really driven through. But you want to make sure that you don't drive through it too quickly because like, well, okay, you're more in tune with your emotions and let's go to the next thing. No, let's get the value out of each stage of this process. And I think this final stage of emerge is really so important because the value that you get from a hard season can really, like the ROI of that hardship can really be multiplied in this emerge season to be like, okay, what did we learn from it? How have we grown from it? There was a great book I read, and I don't remember the exact title. I think it was called Above the Line, but he talked about E plus R equals O. So the event plus the response equals the outcome. And I think part of our response to hard seasons of life is sitting and talking about like, okay, how did we handle that? What did we do well? Where are the opportunities for improvement that we can take in this? But man, what are the areas in which we grew through this really hard time, and taking time to identify all of those areas? Because really the multiple of your return on investment of a hardship is really sitting in that season as you emerge and you talk about all the areas where we grew and what the lessons we learned through it. Like there can be a multiplication effect that happens through that and the value of a hard season. So don't feel like you are in a rush. I'm really talking to myself here. And by the way, I should have said this at the beginning of the video. We're not sharing these things because we have it all figured out. So we're just going to be honest with you. We struggle with it. I mean, honestly, even the last couple of days with some of the things we've had going on the road. And you can be, newsflash, you can be in the most beautiful place in the world. We're here in Key West. It's been absolutely gorgeous weather. Things have been going, honestly, really well. But man, it's just life. There are struggles that are just constant, even when you're in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And man, it's so important to learn from each of those things and to grow. So just know, we're not sharing this because we all have it all figured out. We're sharing this because that's really what we want to do on this channel. We want to learn things, whether it's about RV life, homeschooling, life on the road, family life, whatever it is. And we want to share it with you to hopefully help you steer away from some of those things. Or in this instance, maybe just as simply as you don't judge yourself as you're going through it. When you go through a hardship, it's so easy to look at the struggles or the emotions that we feel and judge ourselves for that. And really, emotions are just really the indicators on the dashboard, right? It's, hey, something's going on here. So you don't need to judge yourself for that. You just need to say, okay, what do I need to do with this information now?
What's the indicators telling me that I need to do? And when you sit with your family, and you reflect through what's happened, what it looks like to go forward, this is how we build resilient families. Mm-hmm. This is how we build families that are okay enduring through hard times. This is how we teach our kids how to handle hard times. They're learning from us, and we don't want to protect them completely. We want to include them in the age-appropriate parts of the conversations that we can, because we want them to understand there are hard challenges in life that are just part of growing up. And so this is what will help build that resilience and endurance.
Absolutely. And I think it's super important to remind your kids and to encourage them through it. I mean, we've had some instances recently where one of our daughters went through, it wasn't dealing with a bug. I'll just leave it there. And just the way she handled it was like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, that was amazing. So like, this can be a time to reflect on like, what did we learn? But man, it can also be a time to give praise, whether it's to your wife, to your kids, maybe even to yourself, to be like, wow, okay, the way that we handled that this time, that was a lot better. Honestly, like the Jack experience, if we hadn't gone through some of the fires we had gone through with just RV life, and I'll just say that, if you have the expectation that RV life is not going to have any issues, you will be sorely disappointed. You got to put your expectations over here because there are always going to be challenges. We have an amazing RV. Like, the majority of our challenges have
It's just part of life.
have been us just learning. But I think it's important to learn that the reality is growth is optional. You're going to go through hard things in this life. And those things are either going to make you hardened and bitter, or they're going to help you grow and be the best version that ultimately God created you to be. And that's your choice. Like, that's the beauty of this whole thing of going through hard seasons and fires of life, is we have a choice. Are we going to let that thing, like I said earlier on, are we going to let it burn us to the ground and get hardened and just bitter at the world? Or are we going to take the time, go through the process to make sure that we gather, that we're rooted in truth, that we're open and curious, that we really want to find value and protect those small moments, and that we're going to emerge at the end of difficulty, take the time to reflect on it, get the maximum return on investment of that difficulty that you went through, so you can be ultimately the person, the husband and wife, the family that God ultimately created you to be. Because God has a purpose in all of those things. God is over all things. He's sovereign over all things. He has a purpose in all things. And man, it's just, it's awesome, the life we get to live. And we're just super glad that you guys are on the journey with us and us with you. We do hope it was helpful for you, and that when you go through hard seasons of life and homeschooling or RV life or just life in general, that you can come back to this video or even other resources and be equipped to go through those in a more helpful way that actually brings growth to yourself and to others.
Yeah,
so,
and if you've led your family through a hard time, we would love to hear how that went, what you did, what you learned. We'd love to learn from you too.
Absolutely. So feel free, drop it in the comments. You can visit our website at ronanddeborah.com, hit the contact form and reach out to us. But it's really the highlight. Like, making the videos is fun. It's challenging on some days, but it is a lot of fun. But the real enjoyment is from the engagement with the community. We love answering your questions. I mean, from moms reaching out to us about homeschooling their kids and how to have community, to somebody who watched our 300 nights video of our 45-foot coach and they kind of went a different route. So they're asking us questions, trying to we love the interaction, and we love being able to serve you in our community. So until the next time, see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us. If you would like to see additional content, such as our top travel resources and other free tools, be sure to join our free online community at ronanddeborah.com. Before we wrap things up, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Northwest Iowa Community College. NCC has been such a great fit for our homeschool family. They offer flexible learning options online, on campus, or a mix of both, so it's easy to make education work around your adventure. Our daughter Olivia is actually dual enrolled at NCC right now. She's earning both high school and college credits at the same time. It's been such a fantastic opportunity for her to get ahead while still homeschooling. If you're a homeschool family looking for a way to take that next step, NCC is a great option. Small class sizes, supportive instructors, and affordable tuition make it an easy choice. So, if you're ready to start your success story, check out nccbound.com/homeschool. A big thanks to NCC for making videos like this possible. Want to join our next adventure? Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. See you in the next video.